Grizzly. At Grizzly, we believe charging your electric vehicle should be simple, reliable, and affordable. That's why we design, engineer, and build our chargers in Canada, ensuring top-tier quality and performance. Powered by United Chargers, every Grizzly model is crafted in-house, built to withstand extreme conditions, and tested for reliability. Recognized by leading publications for its performance and value, Grizzly delivers both durability and intelligence with heavy-duty aluminum enclosures, premium output cables, and smart charging features like scheduling, usage tracking, and OCPP compatibility with multiple charging apps. Grizzly. Simple, reliable, affordable, built for every climate, every EV, everywhere you go. Visit grizzly.com to learn more.
Watcha, welcome to the Batteries Included podcast for Friday, October 17th, 2025, episode 110, if you're keeping count. Today, a lot to talk about, like range extended versions of the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Appterra goes public, but not in maybe a way that you are thinking of. We're talking Porsche Cayenne this week too, and one of us is taking delivery of a brand new EV today, and of course much more. I'm your host Martin Lee from the EV News Daily podcast. Joining us today, later we'll be joined by Kyle Connor from the Out of Spec gang. They've been doing so much lately, lots to talk about. I imagine we'll have plenty of Porsche Cayenne stuff to discuss with Kyle and his latest videos. Also joining us today, Dominic Yoni, longtime EV journalist, host of the YouTube channel Drive Electric with Dominic, and for the last time seeing him with this background behind him, because soon it will all be different, but we can tell you more. Our guest host today is Andrew Lambrecht, project engineer at Ever. Andrew writes brilliantly articles about EVs for Inside EVs, Business Insider, Forbes. Follow him on LinkedIn for great insights. And we're joined today by a very special guest. It's Matt Teske. Matt's the founder and CEO of Chargeway, a software platform, mobile app, and communication solution for the auto industry designed to make EVs a better experience. This is not a paid appearance or a paid promotion. We just invited Matt on because we love what you are doing. So we'll kick off with you, Matt. We only got you for 10 minutes at the top of the show for a short while. You've been talking to Tom recently on his State of Charge channel, and subscribers to that may have seen a video in their feed already. Matt, welcome to the podcast. Essentially, for anyone who doesn't know, tell us what the app does and what we can do with it.
Definitely. Well, thanks, Martin, and Dominic, Andrew, good to see you. Yeah, Chargeway is, again, as you said, it's designed to make EV charging simple. And there's a lot, as all of us know as experts, that we have to unpack when we figure out what charging is. So what plug type does my car have? What plug type does the station have? Power levels, all those different factors. And Chargeway is designed to simplify all that, to get us to a place where we can have a conversation with our friends and family that isn't engineering based, but easier about the experience. So in Chargeway, we use colors to show plug type. We use simple numbers to show power levels. And we use that inside of our interface of our mobile app to allow people to navigate charging more easily, so they know, can they connect just by a glance? And then how long will charging take based on power? We calculate all that for any EV you choose.
So what's new?
Well, the new thing is today we're announcing that we are integrating real-time pricing for public charging for about half of the public chargers in North America starting out. And we are going to be adding more stations in the coming weeks and months. And the goal for this was based on feedback and just talking to drivers, and frankly, what a lot of us in the industry talk about all the time, which is there's really not a really great way to visualize how much charging costs for public charging. And as we all know, it varies greatly based on the station, the geographic area, the car that you're driving, time of use rates, all those different things that are very confusing. And we have to get to a place where the people that have been driving gas cars forever, they just kind of look at a marquee, they say gas is X dollars per gallon, and that doesn't really fluctuate maybe day to day, but they understand the math on that, but charging's more complicated. So we wanted to give people the ability to choose their car and then look at a station and see what the total cost would be for them to fill up based on their battery level at a given time. And that's what we're announcing today with Chargeway.
This is a huge improvement, quality of life improvement for many people going EV. Tell us about how you see the adoption curve of EVs, because all of us and many people watching, maybe, I guess, what's known as early adopters, or maybe kind of early mainstream. As more people go EV, why is this important for you to solve this problem?
Well, I think the reality of it is electricity is basically an invisible product if you consider it as a fuel. So the vast majority of drivers who've been using gas forever, they understand gas as being a mandatory factor of vehicle ownership, and it's highly publicized. It's on every street corner, and they see it as kind of an understood sunk cost of vehicle ownership. And we've just grown accustomed to how that works. So the expectation for many drivers is they need to know the cost of the fill up. And they oftentimes think that it is always going to be expensive because of gasoline prices and how they've been in recent years. But with charging, we need to show people that there are opportunities to charge at a cheaper price maybe throughout the day based on the vehicle you have and the station you're choosing. We often talk about home charging being very cost effective and cheap, which it is, but public charging has these fluctuations that there's no signage for it. There's no visibility into how this works. And that's what Chargeway is designed to create, is visibility into really the four things people need to know, which is, can I connect here with the color of my plug? How long will charging take? That's the power level. And then it estimates the charge time based on your car. And then are there charges available and what will it cost? Chargeway captures all of that.
If you're a Tesla driver and you only use the Tesla app, you might be thinking, this isn't a big deal. I can see instantly what everything costs at different times of the day. And I might choose to charge at different times to save money. I might be on a road trip and I might just have to charge when I have to charge. How do you feel about how some people in kind of the EV world feel, which is kind of app overload? Like in the early days, we had to have an app or an RFID card starting everything. And now we see credit card readers on lots of chargers, and in some places and countries it's mandated and legislated now that you have to be able to just tap and go. This is, another thing for people to install. Is it the only thing they need to install though? And people kind of get tired of just installing yet another app. So tell us why we should do this.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, and just where pricing is important, but also how you pay. And in the past, again, all of us had started out early. We had RFID cards, we had multiple apps. But as we are moving toward what's being regulated around must have a credit card reader, also how plug and charge will impact people's ownership experience, the need to activate a certain way is going to become a little bit more uniform based on what people might have experienced before with cars, or just the simplification of plug and charge. But that still means they need to have visibility into how each charging station option works for the car they've selected. And they need to know what that wait time will look like. They need to know what availability looks like. So those factors will remain, and you need to have visibility into the entire kingdom in that respect. And that's really what Chargeway will maintain providing in that regard.
All right. Before I hand it over to Andrew, or Dom may have some questions, real-time public EV charging pricing, all pulled into the app. What happened in the background to make all this happen? This doesn't sound like the work of a moment.
No, we've been very quiet this year with what we've been working on, frankly, but this was a lot of hard work on our end to, as many of us know in the industry, it's not uniform for how the information is available. And so how you curate the information, how you get it from different sources, that requires a lot. And that's something we focused on, was how do we take all these different types of sources of information and then create a user interface that is uniform as it relates to price and time and your vehicle and geographic area. So that was, my hair wasn't gray when I started working in the EV industry. So, but it's been a lot of hard work, but we're excited to show this to people, and we'll continue to make additions to it as the weeks come on. So
I know. I said I'll throw it over to Andrew and Dom, but I have one more question. Gas prices can change, I don't know, multiple times a day. How often do you have to change the electricity? How often do charge CPOs change the price they're charging, or the time bands? Is it as fluid as daily or hourly, or how does it work?
It's for the most in North America and the United States, it's pretty static. I mean, we're going to see if you have a price per kilowatt hour, that's going to be pretty normalized. You'll oftentimes see discounted pricing from certain networks for promotions such as holiday weekends, things like that. But there's also the issue of, again, peak demand charges that happen at certain network locations, where it might be 25 cents a kilowatt hour in the morning and evening, but might be 50 cents per kilowatt hour at midday. That's a different element that drivers need to contend with as compared to gasoline. And that's what we wanted to provide visibility into, is you can see what your battery level is, and then see that it might cost you $12 to fill up right now, and it might cost you $25 to fill up midday. So that allows people to understand, okay, this is different than gas sometimes. And I need to know when I could fill up that's cheaper.
Dom, any thoughts?
I'm just trying to keep up with that. I just downloaded the Chargeway app yesterday, and I've been checking it out. So this gives you the real time, and it's pretty familiar kind of interface, and it's pretty interesting. So you can see real time what prices are, and of course, like how many stalls are available on the thing. Hey, Matt, do you have I also on mine, I see there's lots of Tesla charging locations. Do you have Electrify America on this one as well?
Yeah, so the Chargeway app, it lists about 70 total public networks in North America. That includes all the majors. So that's Tesla, Electrify America, EVgo, Shell, Blink. Go down the list of all the ones we're familiar with. They're inside of Chargeway.
Right on.
Cool. Andrew, anything?
And you have
like
sorry,
carry on, Don. Carry on, Don.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say you have a different tier of service as well, right? Like a paid tier that gives you even more information.
Yeah, so in the Chargeway Plus feature that we offer, the drivers can then basically download Chargeway and then sync their vehicle as an option. But once they've subscribed to Chargeway Plus, all of the calculations for total cost of charging is automated for them. They can either manually set their battery level, or they can let telematics show them what their battery level is. That's the Chargeway Plus users then have the ability to see that total cost of charge right on the map when they tap a pin. That's the feature that is going to be, I think, really important for a lot of folks.
Oh, okay. So it's not, you don't have to pay $6 a month just to get the basic functionality then. So you can download the app and have a play.
Oh, yeah. The Chargeway mobile app has been free for a long time. The Chargeway Plus features we introduced about a year ago were with the option of integration around, can you connect your EV and what is your current state of charge? We're doing a lot of testing on that. But this feature that we wanted to roll in, we wanted to do all that automated calculation for those Chargeway Plus users. So now those Plus users can see that total cost of charge based on their battery level at any given time when they tap on a pin.
Amazing. Cool. Andrew,
So
anything you want to ask?
Yeah, I got to say, like, I love that graphic on the screen right now where you can easily see what the total charging price is, because it's nice to just have that transparency where you can see all the data right there. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and you can switch between total and kilowatt hour if you want to, but we just defaulted to the total price because I think we wanted to get to a place where I think most just general consumers want to know is, again, can I charge here? How long is it going to take me? Are there chargers there? And if I do go there, what's it going to cost me? That really, to me, kind of encapsulates what we all know as experts, the drivers that we're trying to get into EVs will need to learn. And we've got to get that down to being very easy to visualize and be simple for people, because not everybody's an early adopter like all of us. So
100%. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good work. Good work.
Thank you very much.
Mike says, will we see you later today at Electrify Expo?
Yes, I actually have to run right now to go downstairs for a panel for Industry Day. So I will be here at Expo. If you are going to be here too, come catch me. Let's talk.
All right. You had 10 minutes and we took 12. So we'll let you go. Mike, thank you so much for joining us, and come back soon and tell us what the next thing you're working on, okay?
Thanks, Bart. Thanks, Dominic. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.
See you. Bye-bye. Well, it's fascinating. I think we should be able to do a little swapsy-roo. And like one out, one out, one in. He's here. Carlos here. Hey, welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh,
All right. Good to see you.
Good to see y'all.
Good. Right. Let's get into it then. Lots to talk about. First of all, then, Porsche Cayenne. Both you and Tom had videos out in the last day or so. And in fact, I think I've forgotten the title or the thumbnail on Tom's video. Cayenne EV crushes it. Right. Well, that's not even on the sort of on the fence. Tom was blown away. Were you blown away by the Cayenne? You both did 70-mile-an-hour range tests. What was that all about?
Yeah, so Tom and I had the really cool opportunity to join the final stages of the Porsche development team before they sign off on the car. So it's sort of still prototype phase for the vehicle, still pre-series, but both he and I and our friend Mac and a couple others were invited somewhere to California in the desert to go join the prototype team on like a range drive. This isn't, in my view, a 70-mile-per-hour highway range test. This is more just a range impression because there were traffic conditions. We're not on our normal loop. We didn't run ours to dead. So it's just like get an idea of how far it would go more than anything. And I have to say the vehicles did really well. So the first thing we should discuss is this is the new E4 generation Cayenne. So it's coming out sometime early to mid next year. I have a whole like technical deep dive video on this car. I went to Germany, met with all the engineers. That went up a couple weeks ago. Now we're here where we're able to actually drive it and see how far it goes. Only 108 kilowatt hour usable battery. Not that much.
That's not bad. I mean, that's small.
When you look at like a long range Rivian, they're 140 kilowatt hours, Hummers 175, Escalade IQs 215 kilowatt hours usable. So you get into just, okay, they've gone really, I would say, kind of on the small side on the battery, and then tried to focus on efficiency. And to be fair, My car that I was driving was the full efficiency spec. Tom also had the same wheel and tire, but with the off-road design package. So it kind of messes up aero a little bit. We saw less than 1% difference between them. It was really, really close. And in total, all of the cars, as the range impression, did about 350, 360 miles on a charge if you drove them from full to dead. And I have to say that's pretty efficient highway cruising for such a big, wide vehicle.
And the off-road design package, if I get that right, what does that do? Like, is that just a different aero and stuff? Or what is that?
Yeah, you can kind of see it on that car all the way on the right that's parked next to the M5. And it basically has different design elements throughout the car. But the biggest difference is it increases your approach angle. So you give up a little bit of slipperiness so that you can come up on an object without, scraping the underfloor or the front bumper on the car.
Oh, yeah, it's got a little different front faces, a little bit shorter on the front there, you can see.
Yeah, I actually think it looks better in the off-road design pack, and this test basically proved there's not a real range penalty. So I would kind of just go for that. And then, I think it looks better than having that big, long chin sticking out up front.
Yeah, I agree. It looks great. And in Tom's video, they didn't have any, I think you mentioned it as well, like they were predicting a bigger range hit than it really had. So don't worry about it. Like, it's fine. So we can say the videos are out and they're public. So we'll say 350 miles and you didn't run them down to dead. And this is a big vehicle. You don't always tell, when you're watching YouTube videos, you can't always tell because they're not parked to anything. They're all parked next to each other. But the Cayenne's a big vehicle, right? So how have they done this with efficiency?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's not the most efficient car. We should be clear. I mean, you're not going 400 plus miles with 100 kilowatt hours. So you're still well in that low to mid 3 mile per kilowatt hour highway driving range. And that's just what these types of vehicles seem to do at 70. It's also important to note that if you drive faster than 70, 75, 80, the resistance, the forces against the car are exponential. So I think most Cayenne drivers probably aren't going to sit at 70 miles an hour. They're going to be, 80, 85, 90 cruising, especially out west. That's when you're going to see, a pretty big range hit. What this test tells me as just reading between the lines based off of testing cars for a reasonable amount of time is if you needed to do 300 miles in any conditions, you can do that. If you need to do 270 miles at whatever speed, you can pretty much do that. So I think that's a really nice, usable range on that first charge. But as you guys know, it's all about that range and recharge time. This is a charging monster. We've seen real world tests of under 15 minutes, 10 to 80%.
That's incredible. Yeah,
which is
that's
really
incredible.
Good.
I mean, that is as quick as you can go in and get a coffee and come back again. That's nice electric charge port.
I like that slide here.
Yeah,
I don't really like
we both saw that at the same time. Ooh.
Yeah, that's the same as the Macan has the identical one.
That's
DC
nice.
only. So does it have 2 charging ports?
Yes, this is, I think, the worst part. One of the few problems about the car is the NACS port, at least at launch, they tell me, the NACS port is DC only. To AC charge it, you have to plug in the other side of the vehicle with the J1772 port. So same as Nissan Leaf, the new one, same as the Mercedes CLA. And this is going to confuse the hell out of people. And I told the engineers, I'm like, do not bring the car here until you fix this. Like, just hold it an extra 6 months, get the right part, do whatever you need to do. They're like, I don't know if we can do it that quickly. I'm like, this is so stupid. So other than that, the car is amazing. And I think most people can work around that.
So hang on. So yeah, I'm a little confused by that. So is it a hardware supply chain thing?
Yes, 100%.
Oh, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the problem is when you're using NACS, you're now so if you think about a CCS connection, you have the J1772 part up top that does AC, and then the 2 pins on the bottom that do DC. Those physically have 2 high voltage lines running to the onboard charge controller. So you have separate lines for AC and a separate input for DC. With NACS, you have to run AC and DC on those same lines. And you have to have a switching mechanism on the vehicle and make sure that you don't get it wrong, because that could really, fry some things. And so it needs to be a very robust switching mechanism to go between AC and DC. Sounds simple. Lucid had to engineer their own in-house solution. Hyundai, Kia figured it out, and they were kind of the first ones at doing this. Somehow Porsche can't figure this out.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's
I mean,
not great.
it's not really. They're not really known for electrical. They're not known for not being decent at electrical engineering, but still.
I mean, I would say they're well known. They did a ton of stuff from the ground up for Taycan, right? They were the first to high voltage. Yeah. They had to develop a bunch of in-house power electronics, some with suppliers, some completely in-house, just to make that car happen. Clearly, the NACS thing happened deep into the development cycle of this car, and they just could not get it past the goalpost in time to do AC and DC.
Yeah, that kind of. I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? But it does suck a little bit. So
yeah, I mean, if you're knowledgeable, like if you're any of us watching, we're fine. Like we know, okay, J-port for AC charging, NACS for DC charging, we can handle that. I guarantee you some person is going to buy this car, take it up there, going to be like, oh, I've got a NACS port on my cabin house in, wherever, Vermont, Minnesota, doesn't matter. Pull it in the garage, plug it in and go, now I've got a dead Cayenne and I have no way to charge it.
Yes, that's a good shout. That's a good shout. A bit like early Taycan days with the power booster, and I think the Skoda Enyaq launched with it as well. And just like dealers weren't in a position to start explaining, well, you can pay a little bit extra and charge at different speeds, and they just want to make the sale. And that was left up to you to work that out. So that's not ideal, but that's not great.
I mean,
so
the Porsche retail center is probably one of the more competent sales processes in terms of education, but I can almost guarantee you that this will come up less than 10% of the time during the actual delivery handover of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, these vehicles are not finished versions. They're pre-series. By the looks of it, you see a lot of people doing a ride along as well. So again, the cars are a little bit heavier. You've got luggage and stuff in. So not a pure 70-mile-an-hour highway range test, and also a lot of elevation on your drive that you were doing as well. A Porsche is still like learning about the vehicle alongside you, because there's I think I saw a camera car as well, and there's someone else filming that. And this looks like a chance for them to get either footage or learn about the vehicles too. So were you kind of helping them out with your knowledge too?
Well, I mean, first of all, this was part of the development process. So this is, basically try and squash all the bugs before the car goes into production. That's what these, basically 1 year of testing. They take them. They have about 1,000 throughout the life cycle of Cayenne. They will have 1,000 prototype vehicles, which is insane. And these are crash test cars. These are mileage accumulation cars, charging test cars, and they have to run them through a series of cycles. And these cars are part of a small handful of maybe 5 or 10 Cayennes that are in America that have been spotted around on the streets. I actually saw one get pulled over a couple months ago in front of me in Utah or Arizona. I thought that was really funny. So I, was able to, at the end of it, they're just like, let's just go on a drive and make sure the range feels good, fits with this, driving profile. And they're like, let's bring some media along, which was cool. So we got to go and join for that. We drove instead of them driving. This was part of their checklist anyway. And I thought that was really cool.
Oh, nice.
NB Volks is saying front looks a little bit Kermit-ish, but this isn't the front. Is this the front end of the production vehicle quite? Or is this still kind of camouflage? That looks kind of weird, the headlight situation.
Yeah, well, so it physically has to be the same dimensions as the production version because of our testing. I don't think they would have and clearly when I was touching the car, that's finished body work. But they put on, everything's blacked out. They have these weird headlight covers to throw people off. Their goal is to make the cars look ugly before it's revealed to the world.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah, whatever. That's okay.
Mission accomplished.
These will be made in Germany, I guess? Or do they make them in
Hungary?
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Still some import duties on these, but I guess that's not on a high ticket item such a big deal because you can soak up some of that. But interesting. And then, so what, series production early next year, or did they talk about that? Or can you talk about that?
Yeah, we're 6 months away, more or less. I think that was the vibe. What was crazy to me was just how reliable and solid and really how everything with driving the car worked. I didn't have I think I did have one bug, and it wasn't a bug. I just didn't like the way something was worded in the nav, and it had to do with like, it wasn't exactly this, but it was like, en route battery preconditioning, and it's like the battery was warmed ahead of the charging session, but it's, it hasn't done that yet, so it will be warmed. So it was just a weird translation thing. I think that was the only thing I mentioned. Sasha right here is responsible for the Porsche prototype. He's a friend of mine. He's great. He took a picture, sent it to one of the engineers. They're like, it'll be fixed, well ahead of production. And I was like, well, that was the only thing I could help with. Sorry, guys. It's really dialed in.
That's it. My work here is done.
You can't talk about dynamics, right? Yeah, can you?
I think so. I think driving impressions of the prototype are allowed because there was a prototype drive that happened. The purpose of this was not really to drive the car, in an evaluation standpoint, but I did take a couple off ramps. I did get it on the highway, and it just feels so grown up, so mature, even compared to Macan. This is clearly the mile muncher. And it's another league above Macan in terms of solidity on the road. I was always impressed with Macan, but it never felt quite Taycan level. This is just, man, it's going to be the road tripper. There is no other car on sale in our market that will be as good of a road tripper as this car that I can think of. The charging performance is amazing. It's really dialed.
Gravity?
Wow.
Oh, this should smoke a Gravity on a road trip, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, well, they both hit 400 kilowatts. This just holds it way longer.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this will hold 400 kilowatts to like 60-something% state of charge.
This Gravity has the initial range if the conditions are great.
But I'm kind of hearing reports. Look, nothing against the Gravity. I am giving that car great reviews, and I'm looking at an Air Sapphire on the driveway right now. That I'm a huge Lucid fan. The Gravity is too buggy to be considered a series production car right now. That car, both Tom, I just was on the phone with him, and me, I've driven now like 4 or 5 of these things. Not a single one hasn't given me an issue, thrown up a fault code, done some weird thing. And this is 9 months after start of production on the Gravity. I'm not here to rag on Lucid. They just got to dial this car in because it is an amazing car. And here I am, 6 to 9 months at the time, 9 months ahead of start of production on the Cayenne, and I can't find a way to make the car do something weird.
Right. I guess this is the difference between like a young automaker and a really well-established premium automaker. I guess Lucid's also aiming for that same premium kind of status, but this is Porsche is known for their engineering, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah, I think the Gravity, they aren't direct competitors because what Gravity offers over this is 3-row capability, way more storage space, overall should be more efficient than this Cayenne as well. And it has a larger battery. So I don't doubt that the Lucid will have more range. The question is going to be what's going to be better in the 10% challenge.
Right.
Because of the charge speed.
So,
right, because they'll both hit 400 kilowatts, and the Lucid can onboard, that's like 10 to 80 in, I can't remember exactly, but like 20 minutes, which is awesome. It might be slightly below that. This is 10 to 80 on a slightly smaller battery pack, but you still are onboarding way more energy in less than 15 minutes. So a whole 25% faster, if not more, to 80%. And the other thing that we haven't had the chance yet to do is road trip a Gravity. Lucid's been a little bit cagey on getting us a car, and I can't. They say they want to get me a 5-seat version, and I'm like, that's okay. Just get me something to drive. I want to go show what that thing can do. And the fact that I'm seeing, other outlets that probably aren't as picky as me getting to drive the car first, maybe shows, okay, well, not quite ready for the out of spec road trip test. That's my impression, but hopefully soon. I know it's going to happen definitely before the end of the year. A viewer of ours just took delivery of his full range spec Gravity. My plan is to go borrow that car and run all the tests with it since Lucid can't figure out a way to get one over here. And so we just need the car. We'll do the tests and we'll make the videos for you guys.
I'd also say, Dom, as well as the difference between a startup and the Germans, is that also the necessity to get the Gravity out, because they can't. They could wait 9 months the Saudis have some money. Don't get me wrong, so they could wait and do another 6 months of testing, but that it's not quite China speed. but they need to get something out, and they need to just learn under the that white hot heat of having real-time feedback from customers, and that pressure as well. I think as well, because the company needs to survive, and they need to get vehicles out there, even if they're not perfect. Now, obviously, others like Tesla have done this famously, and the fans of the brand are like, yeah, don't worry about it. They'll get there. It's kind of other brands ape that and have our Lucid fans as into the brand. I don't think we see this with the Volvo EX90, where they're going back and putting new hardware in that vehicle for early buyers of that car, because they're just not in that place. They're like, I want the car to work. And I think probably Porsche Cayenne buyers are the same. They're not like, yeah, we'll get a car that's half baked and we'll help you finish it. Whereas Tesla owners in the early days were happy to do that. So Dom, I think part of it as well is like Lucid have just got to get something out there, even if it's not absolutely perfect. But yeah,
and from a design intent, so like for all of the communication points that Lucid hits on the Gravity, they nail it. They do have still currently on sale the best charging EV in our market. They still have one of the longest, if not the longest, SUV range, although we haven't had a chance to test it against Escalade and other stuff like that. It could be interesting to see what happens. And this is still an impressive car, the Gravity. But it's important to remember that the Cayenne is one class of vehicle down from the Gravity. Very similar in exterior dimensions, but not a third row. The Gravity packaging is insane. The handling of Gravity is also insane. So it will be on the Cayenne. And that's when it gets really interesting, is when you need one car to do it all. I think it really is going to come down for a lot of people, Gravity or Cayenne.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Interesting. Hey, so if you have a driveway with the Cayenne, the Gravity, Cadillac IQ Long, and the R1T, what are you driving? What are you picking to go across the country with?
You mean for me to pick?
Yeah. If you just your own personal.
I
what do you
would
want to
do
drive
Escalade.
across the country?
Escalade's the road tripper.
Oh yeah. Okay. You sure? Yeah.
That thing's awesome.
It's got to feel super solid on the road because it weighs like half it's like half the weight of the planet, basically.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that when you're on the highway in an Escalade, you hit Super Cruise, you hit the massage seat, you turn up the music, you are the king of the road. It is crazy.
Wow. Oh, that's cool. All right, go. So Tom's got a video out of spec, have a reviews video up now, and go and check those out. Sorry, Andrew. I know I've been dominating the conversation. Andrew, I'm so sorry. What do you want to know about the Cayenne?
Yeah, that looks, I mean, from seeing that video and everything about it, one thing that's interesting that I noticed with the EV Porsches, like the Macan and the Cayenne, they all have frameless windows, but the internal combustion engine ones have frame windows. So that's kind of cool.
Well, I think it just depends on product segment. So Panamera might be framed, but 911 is not framed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 911s are frameless. Interesting. Yep. That was just one of the things I noticed. How is the curved screen? I'm curious. And what's the software like? How much of an improvement is it in the Cayenne over the Taycan?
Yeah. So functionally, they do similar things, but the Cayenne screen is awesome. I mean, it looks terrible in photos and video. I'll be the first to admit it. It looks awful in photos. When you're using it and you're rubbing your hand up that screen and everything's going right exactly in line and there's no lag and it's totally in line, it's really cool, dude. It's really cool. I love it.
Oh, I love it. It looks. I mean, it looks weird. I must be honest with you. It looks strange because it's a bit like folding phones. Like, I'm just not quite there with them because there's something not right about it. But as long as the user experience is fine, who cares? I mean.
They separate it out nicely, Martin. So like the bottom section of the screen, they almost treat it as two separate screens. But then in some scenarios, stuff can flow from the bottom to the top or vice versa. Nice. And it's really a great, I think, a great screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Okay. So lots of Cayenne content still to come. And amazing, I must say, especially with your German trip as well, amazing that Porsche, are giving you this level of access. It seems like you could ask anything, and they were happy for you to set up the GoPros facing the camera, just talking to the engineers, like Tom's video as well, just chatting away. Like that doesn't seem, particularly Porsche to me, who might want to keep everything sort of wrapped and then do a big reveal. Is this normal for them, or is this a change of direction for them? They feel really, really open and engaging with you and Tom.
Yeah, I think when everything from the Taycan launch onwards, both their combustion cars and electric cars, they seem to be so open with everything. To be fair, we've had this experience with other automakers as well. If you guys remember, we toured Rivian's head office with their software development stuff. I've been to Lucid's laboratories, and they've been extremely open and welcoming and showing us everything. And I think that's what the consumer of our videos are looking for. They ultimately want confidence in purchasing a vehicle, and you want to know the people behind the engineering process, their thought process when making that car, and some of the hard work that went into it. And of course, there's some consumers that'll just be like, it's a Porsche SUV, that's my next car. They'll never watch the video, and that's that. But Porsche's communication strategy is, at least with the current models, they call it the salami approach. It's in one of our videos. I talked to Mike, who's responsible for communications there, for like electric stuff. And essentially it's like one story next, and then eventually you'll be able to have the full picture.
Interesting. Okay, right. So that is Cayenne covered off. All right, let's get into, this is exciting. Whenever you get a new car, it's the best day in the world. And Andrew, I said one of us is getting a brand new EV today. Your new EV arrives today. Now, you did tell us last time you were on the podcast what you're getting. Remind us.
Yes. So I was doing so much searching. I've been looking at leasing one of these cars for like the last 6 months, been reaching out to like dozens of dealerships, and it is the Dodge Daytona EV. And I was able to sign last month, like September 26th. So I will be taking delivery today because I had to get servicing before I purchased it, which is crazy.
Amazing.
And you got to hear these lease numbers because this is actually insane. So keep in mind, I'm in California. There's no state EV tax credits here or anything like that. It's not like Colorado, which is awesome, where you get additional state credits. So just the federal tax credit I was working with, all taxes in, $4,662 down, and $0 a month. So it's a one-pay lease.
What?
And then I get a $1,000 credit from my energy provider for $1,000. So now we're down to $3,600. And hear me out. It gets even better. I have wear and tear included. That's a $1,300 package plus tax included in that $3,600. So my effective monthly payment is $150, 10,000 miles a year, and I can do basically whatever I want to the car within reason and return the car. Tires can be bald, and I won't be charged. So I think this is going to be an exciting car to do a long-term review on. If anyone is in San Francisco and wants to check it out, like you, Kyle, if you're in the area and want to do a review, you're more than welcome to check it out. So
wait, I got a bigger pitch for you. What if I
Right.
ship you the Model S Plaid? I'll have Danny transport it out there, and then you send me the Daytona for a month, and we'll swap cars.
Okay, yeah, I'll be down.
Because I got to run it through all the testing and everything. And after my video, Dodge will never loan me one.
No,
Okay.
you're never getting one from Dodge.
No.
No, that's man, that is incredible. So, all right, I got to ask: is that because no one's buying them? Was it the rush before the tax credit expired? Andrew, why was it that price?
Well, there is a story to this car, which I will reveal later, but let's just
Okay.
say it was repossessed in Texas on the way to Mexico. And that helped me get a better
Amazing.
deal on it.
It's amazing.
And yeah, so that's one thing. And it also needed some service. But yeah, I'm really excited for the car. But I think the thing is with it, why they haven't been selling that well is I think obviously like the elephant is muscle car enthusiasts who love Dodges probably aren't going to be convinced on an electric muscle car that makes fake noises. But it actually, like, the sales weren't that bad. It actually sold very similarly to the Hyundai Ioniq 6 last quarter. So Q3, it was around 2,700 units. And I believe the Ioniq 6 was around 2,800. So it's not, I mean, the Ioniq 6 isn't a volume seller, but I mean, some people are acting like they can't sell these at all. I mean, they can, but they just got to do some big discounts. And obviously, my lease deal on the Daytona was like, Stellantis isn't making any money on it. I'm literally giving them effectively 40, well, less if you include wear and tear. So, I mean, just say $4,600 to have this car for 2 years. That is a $63,000 MSRP. It's insane. And the residual on the lease is $41,000, and they're already selling right now for like 37. So like
That's gonna be
my
like
car's gonna be worth like
$11,000.
yeah.
No way. So that's so I thought it was more expensive than that. So it's a 63,000 MSRP.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
No,
I love it. No, I love it for you. By the way, I love it for you. And it's a fun car because cars should be like. Firstly, this car tells a story, and we can't wait to hear the story. Let's get it in your driveway first, and let's get it all that get it the done deal. But so firstly, amazing story behind the car, but also cars should be more than just. Unless for you, cars are just a transport to get to your job. And it's absolutely fine if that's what mobility is to you. But for so many of us, cars should be a bit more than that. And this car is. It's stupid and brilliant and doesn't make any sense and isn't worth 63 grand in its current state. But for what you've paid, that's amazing.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
because the thing is, it's like I talk with some people, and the average lease payment in the United States is around $600 to $700 a month. And
Wow.
even if I wanted to go out and lease like a new Toyota Camry, I guarantee you by the time all taxes are included, I would be looking at probably effectively 400 to maybe 420 a month here in California. So the fact that I got like a $63,000 muscle car for that price is pretty crazy. So we'll see how it is. It's the RT. Surprisingly, it's not that fast. So it does make 498 horsepower. It is around 50, I forgot the exact weight, but above 5,500 pounds. But the throttle response in there is not very dialed in. It's not like my Model 3 or anything like that. So you floor the accelerator and you're like, where's the power? So
with that much
we'll see.
horsepower, you would
expect it to be pretty quick.
Yeah, that's
So
kind of crazy.
the 0 to 60 is still 4.8. So I think it ramps up probably somewhere in there, but yeah, it's a little not as fast as I thought it would be.
I presume you'd driven one before you did the deal, or
I drove a Scat Pack briefly, but this is the RT I got, so this is the base model. But I was gonna buy this fully willingly without test driving it at all, just
Fair
because
enough.
I like the way it looks.
Right.
So we'll see how it goes.
at that price, it makes absolute sense to do it. And even at twice the price, it makes perfect sense to do it. So I love it.
Well, I was about to sign at another dealership for like probably effectively 7,000 in, but then the next morning they called and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna need an extra $2,500 if you want to sign." And I'm like, "What?" So if you're in California, do not go to Fremont Dodge. Not a great dealership.
Yeah, that's not the way to do business. As a $63,000 muscle car, Kyle, or $80,000, in trims and stuff. Yeah. So Kyle, how did you evaluate the vehicle when you ran? Because you've reviewed it, I presume.
Yeah, I went on the launch and was like, there's some elements that are really cool, and you have to kind of keep price in the back of your head, of course, when evaluating a car. So at $80,000, the one I drove, I think, was almost $90,000. It was like fully spec. And I was like, the one pedal drive sucks. It's huge. Like, I think it actually looks pretty good.
It looks
it's
great.
Fairly comfortable. It actually charges reasonably okay. 200 kilowatts seems to have a good curve. Andrew's, of course, going to learn all about that. And I can't wait to experience his car as well. We'll definitely do a collaboration. So, Andrew, you'll have to come on the channel for updates on the car and stuff.
For sure.
So, that is so dumb at 80 grand, but for $150 a month, then look at it. Wait, you're getting a long range, reasonably fast charging, nice electric car.
Yeah. I think it looks so cool as well. It's stupid and brilliant and amazing. I love it. All right.
It's just that software it's just the software is so slow. Like, is there a chance they're going to be speeding that up with updates over the air or something? Because they've got the processor can't
Over
be
the
that.
air. What are we talking about here?
Well, no, that's not.
It doesn't have over the air.
Nothing's
Oh my God.
happening over the air.
Really?
I think it does support over the air to the head unit, but it doesn't even have like great features in there. I have to revisit the car. So, Andrew, when you get it, next time I'm in San Francisco, we'll switch whatever. I'll certainly entertain the offer and have to swap you a car to borrow yours for a bit. It would be really fun.
You have you have an Air Sapphire in your driveway, 250 grand before
Martin, really quick. I'm so sorry. While we're on the topic of Stellantis making bad cars, they actually make one of the best cars.
What's that?
Oh,
It is the Citroen Ami. It's one of
That's
our
true.
favorite vehicles.
That is true. That is true.
So-
I saw one drove past me today as I was getting my morning coffee after doing the school run, wrapped in they're always wrapped because they're always business cars, wrapped in like an estate agent's or realtor in your language, like big, bright orange wrap. And I was like, it just looks cool. Like you just can't help but see it and smile.
Yeah, you see that and you go, I'm buying a house from that guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great news that I have not heard anywhere else. My friend who works at a Fiat dealership somewhere in Middle America, which I will not name because I don't know if it's public, but he never told me not to say anything. The Fiat Topolino is coming to America.
What?
Which is
Yes.
like the Fiat version of the
Citroen Ami.
Citroen's
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're also getting the one with the rope doors.
Oh, nice.
So I've got one saved at the dealer with my name on it, and I might have both saved at the dealer with my name on it. We might give one away to one of the viewers. But can you pull up a picture of I forget the name of it, but it's some special edition.
Yeah, Dom, bring up the one that doesn't have doors, but just has like a little, where there's a rope that goes across the VIP entry to the club. Like it's that with a little clip. Like, please fall out of your car, sir. Now there we go.
Turn too hard, end up on the road.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you can find one, Dom, bring that one up because it's brilliant. Such a cool little thing. And you know what? If you're in the south of France, this car makes sense. But wherever you are, this car makes sense because you know what? It's what I just said about cars should be special and interesting and not make any sense sometimes.
So what I would want to do is order the Citroen caps for it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the Topolino looks as good, or maybe it does look better, but maybe because we can never get the Ami. The Ami was the original for me. So it's super cool. And again, who knows if there's just a glitch in the system or what's happening, but it sounds like they've got 2 allocated to their dealer.
No way. That's amazing.
I heard they're going to be limited to 19 miles an hour as neighborhood electric cars. They can be tuned because I drove a tuned one. Vallejo makes the motor for this. And I think it's the same or similar drivetrain to what's in my BMW CEO2 motorcycle. It's like their belt-driven 48-volt system. And I drove a tuned one of these. It did like 60 miles an hour. It was awesome.
Wow. So it can be.
Really? 60 miles an hour?
That's like a software unlock.
That's going to be terrifying.
It was amazing, and it does burnouts, and it's on my channel. It's I drove it in Las Vegas, actually, of all places.
Wow, yeah, that's
Wait,
very
is it
cool.
front or rear wheel drive?
Rear drive, rear motor, like a 911.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yes. Now, look, this is a quad. It's just over here. It's not classified as a car. It's classified as a light quadricycle because it does 28 miles an hour, 45 kph. And so, are there different rules for this car being on sale in the US?
Yes. If they sell it as a neighborhood electric vehicle, in certain states, you can only operate it on roads with a 35 mile an hour speed limit or less, I believe.
Right, that's right. So
Okay.
golf cart communities, there's a bunch of those in south parts of America. You know, we have in Georgia,
Florida.
Peachtree, Georgia is famously a golf cart community, and we have the what do you call down here in Florida?
The villages.
The villages, right, and that's a huge golf cart community. They have overpasses over the interstate with golf carts going across them. It's pretty funny to go by there.
Amazing.
But having one of
it's
these
perfect
at
for
the out of spec track would be perfect to bomb around in.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very, very cool. And these are on sale here now because they've been out a couple of years over here. Not this, but the Ami. And they're really not a huge amount of money, but they are limited in their usefulness. So you need to make sure you're not going to go on a 60 mile an hour road and start holding people up. But if you do want to get one of these, they are in the low thousands now here. And there's tons of them on Auto Trader because I think, people are just turning them over. And so, go and have a look. If you're in the UK or Europe, go and have a look. And you might be surprised at how cheap they are. Definitely a use case car, but use case cars are important as well. It's not a do everything car. It's a use case car. And we love that. So that's mega. We'll talk about Jeep and Appterra before we go. Kyle, you mentioned you have an Air Sapphire on your driveway, 250 grand plus before you hit the options list. I don't know if there's a huge amount of options to add to it. I want to talk about it because I do think this is the sleeper success car of EV engineering that no one talks about. And what reminded me of that was your I did a podcast this year, the top 10 fastest electric vehicles in the world. I think it's because the Yangwang U9, is that what it was, broke 300 miles an hour, right? So I did the top 10. And like in 6th place is the Air Sapphire at 200 miles an hour, or 201. Now you took this on the Autobahn and had some fun. So why is one in your driveway?
Oh, well, it's a test car from Lucid, so super cool of them to let me play around with it. The car, in one word, is maybe the largest breadth of capability. That's not one word, is it? It's insane. That's one word. Yeah. But in a short sentence, it's the largest breadth of capability that a sedan could have. It's unbelievably comfortable. Same comfort as the normal Air. Nears makes no difference. Great on-road mannerisms, amazing long-distance driving car, still very efficient, still just a nice place to put miles on in a vehicle. And then you take it on a drag strip and it runs consistently under 2 seconds, 0 to 60. And then you take it around the track and it absolutely rips. And then if it's raining or if you want to kill your tires, it's a drift missile. It's so cool. It is really the one car to do it all. And the direct competitors to this, of course, are the Tesla Model S Plaid with track pack and also the Taycan Turbo GT. I own the Plaid track pack and I've done thousands of miles in Taycan Turbo GT. This has its own character that both of those cars can't even come close to.
Wow. That's high praise.
It's really, if you want a daily driver, which this primarily is set up to be no carbon wing, no bucket seats. It's a comfortable daily cruiser that is, again, true luxury ride and feel going down the road. And then just go shred a drag strip or a track. It can do it all.
Is this the track that you've moved back to now?
Yeah.
Video is? Cool. So you've moved? You've relocated?
Yeah, living in North Carolina, and that we're home. This is the track. I have a whole video on my personal channel walking everyone through a full tour of the facility and kind of meet some of the people there as well. And we're so lucky to be there. I was traveling for like 6 weeks straight, but this week I've been mostly back home. I went to Michigan to Eaton's Proving Grounds. We can discuss that if there's time. I drove an electric Class 8 semi-truck, Battle Motors truck with a big trailer. It was awesome. But yeah, this is home now, and we're so lucky to be here.
Wow. Special. Really. That's such a special vehicle. No one talks about it because it is $250,000, but still named the German performance car of the year this year by 30 German auto judges that didn't pick a German car. They picked this one because that's how good it is. And go and watch Out of Specs Autobahn Run, which I said on my podcast at the time. I feel like I have to say, like a little disclaimer, this wasn't like Kyle and the Out of Spec team just hooning around, because it sounds like, we're doing 200 miles an hour on the Autobahn. Because, firstly, Kyle can drive, and also it was all done very safely and, always slowing down with traffic and stuff. But what a reminder about how good this vehicle is. 200 miles an hour is next level for the rest of us mere mortals. So incredible.
So you have a ton of cars there in the back, Andrew. So where you're working there, it's like a car mostly used EVs, right?
Yes, all used EVs.
Right. So any Lucid Airs back there that you've?
Yeah, I actually did a video with the Lucid Air yesterday. So
sweet. Okay.
It was a touring, not quite as fun as the Sapphire, but even the touring, like the dynamics on there are so good. It's a really, really engaging driver's car, and it's pretty impressive, because at least last summer when I was interning there, I never really got to drive them that much, but now actually driving this for the past few days, it's a sweet ride.
Good stuff. All right, look, before we go, let's get into a couple of things. This week, Jeep announced details of the Grand Wagoneer. So Wagoneer is no more. There is now only a Grand Wagoneer. They called it America's first range extended EV. BMW popped up and went, hi. We made the i3, but you carry on, Jeep. So Jeep have made the United States or America's first range-extended electric vehicle, where the engine isn't tied to driving the wheels, but acting as a generator to charge a battery and going by electric power alone. Completely separate drivetrain technology. So 2026 is a refresh year for Jeep Grand Wagoneer. updated styling, and this new plug-in variant. So they are taking the moment to simplify the lineup with the Grand Wagoneer 92 kilowatt hour battery. This is slightly different to some of the technology which is coming out of China at the moment. There's a Geely car that's on sale this week in China with an 80 kilowatt hour battery, but that's a plug-in hybrid. And so that has, I think the engine also drives the wheels on that, I think. But either way, 92 kilowatt hour battery to charge the battery. Also comes with a 3.6 liter V6. It's a 130 kilowatt generator. It's 647 horsepower in total, a 5-second 0 to 60. Jeep haven't given us the range, but it will be 500 miles, near or nearabouts.
With the gas.
Yeah, you got to burn stuff to do that, obviously. But, you know, as long as things have a plug socket and we can charge them overnight, then we still talk about them. This is essentially what we were talking about years ago with Ram. Ram will now use a version of this powertrain in, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's now called the Ram Rev 1500. So the Ram Charger was killed. I think this is how it went. The Ram Charger was killed, and then the Ram something else was then renamed to the Ram Rev 1500. And so, 145 miles of electric range in a big pickup truck and using, I think, a similar powertrain. That's all we know, really, about it. Combustion version will be a lot less powerful, be rear-wheel drive, and a long wheelbase version as well, but we're not so bothered about that. So, while we don't know if the plug-in version will have these options of the combustion version, it's going to be expensive, and it's going to come to dealers next year after the combustion version. Andrew, we'll start with you on your thoughts on this. Stellantis brands, as you're about to find out, have had a checkered recent history with all-electric models in the United States. Do you reckon range extended vehicles is the way forward?
I think so in some ways, and especially for people who aren't like accustomed. Well, I still think the issue is whenever you have a car with a plug, you always get people who are like very hesitant with them, and at least that's what I kind of noticed with some people. I don't know, but I had a Chevy Volt. That was my first car, and it was like, in my opinion, I think it could have been the perfect one-car solution, at least in terms of the powertrain, and just you have electricity for around town driving. You also have electricity for, I mean, you can do decent trips in it. And especially that with a 98 kilowatt hour battery pack, or 92. I mean, that probably will deliver 125, 150 miles range. I would assume that thing is massively heavy, probably running on 22s, 23s. But I feel like it is a great middle ground for people who want that fallback of having the internal combustion engine. But I think that's a really great solution for a lot of people. I would prefer fully electric, but I don't see anything wrong with that. But will consumers catch on? I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like that because you're driving on electric power, you're getting all the benefits of an EV with the obvious compromises of carrying around an engine and the service and maintenance that comes as the vehicle ages, which will need to be considered, I guess. But it feels like it's an easier sell because you're still got, if you're not going to plug it in, you've still got to put gas in it. But if you can charge it overnight at home, 92 kilowatt hours, it's still a big boy battery in many EVs. It will still be cheaper to run, and you get the EV experience. But I don't know how much confidence I have for them to get the engineering of this right for it to be a great vehicle. Kyle, what's your thoughts then on E-Revs, if you want to call them that?
Yeah, we are so dumb in America because these have been taking off in China like crazy. And any new luxury SUV launching in China pretty much is E-Rev and still gets the market share. And is still considered a new energy vehicle for their schemes and pricing and everything. Here in the US, this is the technology that makes so much sense. Like Andrew said, the Volt had a near perfect drivetrain for 90% of American drivers. That is what people should be commuting with. Plug it in whenever possible. Zero risk if you can't. There's a little bit of a performance penalty, of course, so an incentive to plug it in. But at the end of the day, we live in our nerd sphere where people love electric. I love electric. The idea of a plug-in hybrid it's terrible. I hate them. I own a plug-in hybrid, and I think it's a really bad solution. Not saying I drive it every day, but I just think it's a bad solution. E-Revs make sense to me because you can treat it like an EV most of the time with the safety net. And at the end of the day, it means that you are producing more cars with lower emissions, even if 70% of the people plug them in regularly and 30% don't, or whatever that mix might be. Certainly some people would think no one's ever going to plug them in regularly. I still think you're getting a better driving experience, a better ownership experience. You can run your combustion engine at a much more efficient and clean burning RPM most of the time. And at the end of the day, the engineering of this is done, Martin. Stellantis owns Leap Motors, right?
Yes.
And they sell E-Revs in China like crazy.
But is there actually technology transfer between the two? I don't know.
Gosh, well, they really don't do many smart things. But if they were smart, they would just transfer that tech over.
So this is what Kyle's talking about. So this is the Leap Motor D19. This is a big 3-row SUV, little LiDAR taxi hump on the top there. And firstly, it's a good-looking vehicle. But this is an E-Rev with an 82 kilowatt-hour battery pack and an 800-volt architecture, really fast charging, plug socket on the side. You'll do most of your miles. You're commuting at least on electric alone. It's got the engine in. They always advertise the big number, the big range number, and some of the Chinese cars have been going up towards 2,000 kilometers just to get that big headline. But just to get the headline, the BEV version has a 115 kilowatt hour pack.
Wow.
They give it in 720k CLTC, but you work out big vehicle, that size pack on the, as Kyle says, there's always a BEV version. So if you want the BEV, that's fine. But the E-Rev variant, 800 volt DC fast charging and a CATL battery pack. So it's good stuff and 400 kilowatts of power under 5 seconds. So this Leap Motor D19, the car that you just mentioned, we come back up there. Look, it looks good. And this is who Stellantis made a big investment in all those years ago. And this is what they're making in China. So it can be done. If there's knowledge transfer, then here it is. It's on sale right now in China.
It's not just this car. It's important to remember that Li Auto, like we know the Li Mega, the majority of their sales are all E-Revs. Geely has a bunch of E-Revs. We just did the Zeekr 9X, which is an E-Rev. And so this is the trend. It makes so much sense here in the US to say, let's get people who aren't ready to go electric yet, who would never consider an electric car, get them into the, electric driving experience, let them learn about charging naturally, give them the gas if they need it. But honestly, they'll probably pull off at a rest station, see that there's chargers there anyway, and plug it in. That's what happened to me when I was road tripping my plug-in hybrid. I was like, I'm just pulling off to get food. Oh, there's a DC charger there. Let me get some juice in it. And you just start to learn the lifestyle with no risk. I still think from our standpoint, electric makes sense. It's going backwards to do E-Rev stuff. It feels wrong. But you have to imagine that the majority of people, especially in America, are slow to adopt, unwilling to adopt, and this could be a really cool, and it's needed. We just need like a handful of E-Revs available, pickup trucks especially, with this type of technology.
Yeah, 100%. Like pickup trucks going EV in the early days was just, in hindsight, obviously easy to say, less of a good segment to electrify with pure BEV.
Sorry. So Larry Rich says Kyle is dead wrong here, but I kind of and you guys know what I think about plug-in hybrids generally. That if you can plug one of those in, you might as well get a BEV. But in this case, though, I think this is a good case for the E-Rev, like the big battery, like long distance plug-in hybrid type of situation. I think this is like a really good solution, and I'm kind of curious to see how Jeep customers react to it, because the other option is like the 3.0 twin turbo Hurricane engine, right? It's 240 less horsepower. So it's a bit of a downgrade. I almost feel like.
So this is using a Pentastar.
This was the hybrid uses a 3.6 liter,
Pentastar, but not the Hurricane.
Not the Hurricane. I don't think it's a Hurricane. No.
Yeah, it's not. It's NA. It's not turbocharged. It's just
right.
Yeah,
right.
I think it's
the
just
pure
the
combustion
old school
version uses the Hurricane with the twin.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It must have glitched. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think for any segment that is a very traditional style, and you want a car to look the same, so it's got the space to put an engine, then the whole idea of being a transition technology implies that it's a straight line, and that we start here with combustion and we transition with this and we end up with full electric. I think it's a complementary technology for use case. So again, if you want a very conventional looking 3-row SUV that's going to have a big bonnet anyway, and Mercedes tried changing the styling with EQSs and EQEs and then went, well, no, our buyers didn't like it because it's not an S-Class, and now we're going to make them look like S-Classes. Nothing to put up front. We'll put some electronics and stuff in there, but we'll give it a big hood. And so if you want a conventional looking vehicle, or you want a pickup truck, or a working vehicle, or you're just, you are tempted by that big number, which could be 1,000 miles of range or 800 miles of range with the battery and the combustion, then, you know, why not? As Kyle says, I think you'll never ever plug go to the petrol station and fill up in one of these, apart from on road trips. And even then, that one we saw, the Leap motor, 800 volt technology. These things have got 3, 4, 5C charge rates, and when the infrastructure is there for the pure BEV community, no one's going to mind you pulling in with your hybrid car to plug in on DC fast charging, because you're charging really quickly. And so I'm not sure you'll ever. And so then I come around full circle and go, yeah, and if you have this vehicle for 3 or 5 years under warranty, who cares? And then in 8 or 10 years time, then bits get old and belts and pulleys and oil changes need to happen. You're just going to want to own a full BEV. So then at some point you're like, well, why am I carrying around an engine? So I think it's not clear cut. It's not a straight line. I love it though. I love China's gone 18 months ago all in with these, and there's always an E-Rev version now for every option that comes out, and they're doing really well.
I think the tough thing here.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I think the tough thing here is fundamentally, I think it's a really cool powertrain. I think E-Revs are pretty cool. I think Stellantis needs to be very laser focused with marketing this car, because, well, and I guess on another note, I probably wouldn't want to own that thing out of warranty. I could imagine that would be a bit of a nightmare. But you just got to be laser focused with marketing these extended range EVs, because the Chevy Volt, which I think was like the perfect powertrain, I don't see any reason why I would buy a Prius over a Chevy Volt. And it really didn't kind of make the splash that a lot of people thought it would, just because, like, you would go into a dealership and the salespeople weren't trained. They would be like, oh yeah, it's got a range of 50 miles. And people would be like, I'm out of here. I don't want that car. Or they just were very confused with the purpose of it. So I think this kind of needs some high level down, just overhaul with salespeople, education, and how they're able to convey that information to the average consumer, because I feel like they could really make a great car here, but then there's just going to be people who are very hesitant on purchasing it for whatever reason. And yeah, I don't know. So I think the marketing here is going to be huge. So I want it to succeed. I think it's a really cool product, but we'll see how the public takes it.
Also, it kind of goes under the radar as an EV because it's got an engine. And you know, I hate to say that, but there's quite an anti-EV feeling in some parts of the US at the moment. And anything that is seen as, you know, clean, green, woo-woo Biden, I understand why I would market this as, hey, it's got an engine, because it's effectively an EV. But that can be a tough sell for some people in some parts of the US. So just get over that and just market it as a really good car. If it is, we don't know if it's a good car though. We'll wait.
Well, here's my concern with it. That on that point, Martin, is their battery electric vehicles, which Andrew is about to experience for the next couple of years, are extremely not well designed and engineered. Like in terms of the overall package, systems integration, reliability of the vehicle. His is in for service before he's even taken delivery. That's the most simplest form of car that they sell. Now add a combustion engine, a DC to DC, converter. You have to transfer the power between the two. Man, this is when it gets, the reliability becomes a real question. My concern is that because this is the first modern E-Rev launching in our market, perhaps the reliability is so bad, everyone will think E-Revs are inherently unreliable. That's an interesting perception that we'll have to keep an eye on, see what happens there. On the other hand, Scout is also coming with an electric SUV that's an E-Rev. And so that could be interesting. Well, could also be terribly unreliable. We don't know. Volkswagen Group hasn't done E-Revs, maybe in the Western world at all, maybe not even in China. Maybe there are some examples, but E-Revs haven't really been a thing for them. So now you're launching that product on a relatively niche, weird electric SUV thing that kind of works in our market. Of course, Scouts are going to be cool, but it's so removed from their German engineering counterparts for the rest of the group. I wonder how the reliability of that will be. So it could be could be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I think E-Revs are here. We're a little late to the game, and we are going to be talking about them a bunch more. The question is, should we talk about them on this podcast or in electric outlets, or are they considered plug-in hybrids, which we typically don't cover?
Yeah, that's a good point. Or if they're driven as EVs and you drive on electric, I see a lot of advertising over here because Nissan. Not only are Nissans made in the UK, in the northeast, in a town called Sunderland, a city, isn't it? And then, but they're also really popular here as well. And they have thing called e-Power, which doesn't have a plug. So I never talk about them on my podcast because my rule is if it's got a plug, I'll talk about it. I'm never going to rave about anything with an engine. But they advertise them as electric cars because there's nothing to stop you calling Nissan e-Powers EVs. But they're not. They're not an EV. They won't move forward unless you put gas in them. So I don't want to talk about them really, but when I talk about plug-in hybrids, I still get emails occasionally, not often, from people saying this doesn't have a place on your podcast. Okay, so it's strong feelings. But let's have a look at what we've got to do before we go. Dom, carry on.
I just want to say, I just like what Affable Alpaca says. I would argue E-Rev talk is good, but with a minimum battery size. And these with the E-Revs too, I'm thinking bigger than the regular plug-in hybrid that we've been dealing with before. They had like the 50 and I don't know, or 15 and 30 kilowatt hours. Like 92 kilowatt hours is big enough that you can really see people plugging it in and driving it as an EV. Really, like it would be kind of weird if you didn't do that with that much battery. But and then with this particular vehicle, I think it's just it's like a large SUV. So for road trips or for pulling, like I don't know what the tow numbers are, but the gas version is 10,000 pounds. So RVs and boats, I can see like people really wanting to have the E-Rev variant of this, to pull that kind of stuff. Instead of
and for towing, it's huge. I think I mean, that is a really nice attribute to have. That it's like you can drive electric for 90% of your driving, and then if you need to do a long road trip or you need to tow, it's like you're set. So
yeah. All right, before we go, we want to hear about what happens at Eaton from Kyle. Before we do, I'll mention this because it was in our tease at the beginning of the podcast. This week, Appterra received approval to list its Class B common stock on the NASDAQ. Now, we love Appterra because it's a little bit crazy and bonkers, and we wish everybody the best. Appterra is quite triggering for a lot of people. In the comments already, I've seen people saying certain things about them. Yeah, they've been a long time coming, and they may never arrive. Rather than going public through an IPO or riding the SPAC wave like Fisker and many more did back in the day. Now they've done this thing. They had $13 million in the bank at the end of June, so they needed some more money. In the SEC filing, it said this prospectus relates to the registration of the release of about 32 million shares of our non-voting Class B common stock. We will not receive any proceeds from the sale of shares of Class B common stock. So I'm not a finance expert, but this does seem rather odd. Dom, did you get your head around it? Appterra still seems to make, it has so many people that maybe put money into it and want to get a vehicle out of them. And still lots of people that will shout hi and be like,
oh, look at this.
Ignore them till they deliver a product. Dom, what do you think?
I think.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Tom.
I just landed in Cape Town, 15-hour flight. Didn't get too much sleep, but I just wanted to check in. I saw the podcast was still going. I see you got Andrew on. Kyle joined this week. That's fantastic. Down here for a few days to check things out, and I just wanted to drop in and say hi to everyone.
How are you?
Hey, Tom. Good to see
Okay,
you.
tired but okay.
Table
It's a long-
Mountain.
It's a long flight, Martin.
Yeah. So Table Mountain in the background. I love seeing that.
Yes, that's Table Mountain.
Wow.
So
Holy moly.
I won't interrupt the show too much. I know you guys have it, but I always like to check in if I can. And the only thing I will mention real quickly is I posted it on X yesterday, but you guys know I usually have like an annual Ford F-150 Lightning barbecue at my house.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the first year we had like 20-something trucks, and last year I think we had like 40-something trucks. So Ford was like, this year I don't think we could do it at your house, Tom. We're going to have 50 or 60 trucks. So we just set the schedule 2 Saturdays from now. We're going to do it at a local farm by my house in Chester. It's called Allsteed's Farm, which is really busy this time of year anyway. There's going to be hundreds of people. So I want to make sure if anybody in the group here has a Lightning, they want to come up. We're going to have a really fun day. We're going to give away candy. We're going to have all our frunks open and put candy in the frunks. It's going to be like a frunk or treat event. We have food trucks coming. The people who bring their Lightnings are going to get food vouchers to eat from the food trucks for free. We'll be giving away swag. It's going to be a really fun day. That's October 25th.
Amazing.
So if anybody out there has a Lightning, well, Kyle, you can certainly come. No one's going to stop you from coming, but you won't be able to park whatever you bring in the big row of Lightnings. We're all going to have our frunks open with candy for like the other people that check out. That'd be awesome if you could make it, but it's going to be a fun day.
All right.
Fantastic. Sounds fun. Well, good to see you out there in South Africa. Is everything upside down? I feel like we should rotate your image upside down here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm holding on to the banister here or I'll fall up into the sky. So they do drive on the right-hand drive here, which, might be okay for Martin, but a little disconcerting when you're going through traffics and roundabouts and it's like, oh no, you're going to hit that car, but no, they instinctively go the correct way, which we would go the other way. Anyway, I see you guys have it handled well there. I just wanted to check in and say hi to everyone, and I'll listen to the rest of the show from here. But take care, guys. Checking out from South Africa.
Bye-bye.
See you, Tom.
See you later.
Thanks.
Amazing. That's awesome. Brilliant.